Harrison Whitmore didn't believe in weakness. He'd built a tech empire worth $8.7 billion through calculated ruthlessness and ice-cold precision. At 34, he'd destroyed competitors, crushed hostile takeovers, and never, not once, apologized for anything. But tonight, in his glass-walled penthouse overlooking Manhattan's skyline, the most powerful man in Silicon Valley was on the floor broken, because his 4-month-old daughter had been screaming for 9 hours straight, and he couldn't make it stop. 7 nannies had quit. 12 formulas had failed. 3 pediatric specialists told him she was perfectly healthy. She wasn't healthy. She was wasting away. And Harrison was watching his daughter die in his arms, powerless, until a Jamaican woman with fire in her eyes and songs in her soul did what all his billions couldn't. She held his daughter to her chest, whispered something in patois, and brought her back to life. What Harrison didn't know: saving his daughter would cost him everything he thought he wanted. His control, his empire, his frozen heart. And the biggest secret? This woman wasn't who she claimed to be. The penthouse had seen a lot. Business deals worth hundreds of millions. Supermodels draped across $1,000 furniture. Politicians begging for campaign contributions. But it had never heard a sound like this. A baby's desperate, soul-destroying cry that had been going on for so long. Harrison's ears were ringing even in the moments of silence when his daughter drew breath to scream again. Harrison Whitmore stood in the center of his fortress. 6 feet of Nordic features, platinum blonde hair now disheveled, ice-blue eyes bloodshot with exhaustion. His $5,000 Brioni suit was stained with spit-up and tears. He'd faced down boardrooms full of sharks without flinching. He'd fired 2,000 employees in one meeting without losing sleep. But this tiny human was destroying him. "Mr. Whitmore, perhaps we should try the German specialist again?" His executive assistant, Victoria, suggested from the doorway, her voice tight with concern she rarely showed. Harrison didn't answer. He couldn't. His jaw was locked, teeth grinding as he bounced his daughter, Lily, named after his dead wife's favorite flower, with mechanical, desperate movements. The baby had been crying for 9 hours. 9 hours. 7 nannies had walked out in the past 3 weeks. The last one had looked at him with something close to pity and said, "Some babies just need more than money can buy, Mr. Whitmore." He'd fired her on the spot. But here he was, alone at 2 a.m., proving her right. "Get out," Harrison rasped, his voice hoarse from exhaustion. Victoria hesitated. "Sir." "Out." She fled. Harrison stumbled to the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. His reflection stared back at him, a ghost of the man who'd turned a college coding project into a tech empire, who'd revolutionized cloud computing, who'd been on the cover of Forbes 6 times before turning 30. That man was gone, destroyed by a 4-month-old who wouldn't stop crying. "What do you want?" Harrison whispered to the red-faced infant. "I've given you everything. The best doctors, the most expensive equipment, round-the-clock care. What else is there?" Lily's only answer was another piercing wail that physically hurt his chest. She was 4 months old. Her mother, Catherine, had died 3 days after giving birth, a brain aneurysm that no one saw coming. They'd been married 6 months. A whirlwind romance that Harrison now suspected had more to do with his bank account than actual love. Catherine had been a socialite, beautiful and vapid, who'd gotten pregnant and suddenly wanted to make it work. Harrison hadn't wanted a child, but Lily existed. And despite everything he was, despite the ice in his veins and the steel in his spine, he couldn't abandon his own daughter, even if she was currently screaming loud enough to shatter his legendary composure. His phone buzzed. A text from his COO. "The board meeting is tomorrow at 9 a.m. The investors are threatening to pull out. You need to be there." Harrison looked at the phone, then at the screaming baby, then back at the phone. For the first time in his ruthless career, he made an irrational decision. He grabbed his car keys. The Brooklyn Women's Crisis Center wasn't on any map connected to Harrison's world. It existed in the shadows of Bed-Stuy, a safe house for women fleeing dangerous situations, funded by anonymous donations that couldn't be traced. Harrison knew about it only because his company's AI security system monitored every location in a 5-borough radius. He'd never paid it any attention. Until tonight, when desperation turned him into something he'd never been, a man asking for help. He parked his matte black Aston Martin in the shadows across the street, Lily still screaming in her $2,000 car seat. Through the center's lit windows, he could see women moving, some young, some old, all carrying invisible weights. And then he saw her. She was in the communal kitchen, visible through the window, laughing with another woman while stirring a massive pot. She was tall, maybe 5 feet 10 inches, with rich mahogany skin that seemed to glow in the warm light. Her hair was twisted into thick locks that cascaded down her back, adorned with gold cuffs. She wore a simple yellow dress, but the way she moved, fluid, confident, grounded, made her look like royalty. She turned, throwing her head back in laughter, and Harrison's breath caught. She was stunning. Not in the manufactured, Instagram-filtered way of the women in his world, but with a raw, earthy beauty that radiated strength and warmth. Her smile was wide and genuine, transforming her entire face into something that looked like sunshine. Lily's crying intensified, pulling Harrison back to reality. He grabbed the baby and crossed the street. He didn't knock. He kicked the door open. Every woman inside froze. Harrison stood in the doorway, 6 feet 3 inches of cold precision, holding a screaming infant, his expensive clothes and glacial eyes completely wrong for this warm, worn space. "I need help," he said, his voice cutting through Lily's cries like a blade. "Now." The women scattered, terrified. All except one. She stepped forward, this beautiful woman from the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron. Her dark eyes assessed him with zero fear, only calm evaluation. "You can't be here," she said. Her voice was rich, melodic, with a Jamaican accent that made every word sound like music. "This is a women's shelter. Men aren't allowed." "My daughter won't stop crying," Harrison said flatly. "I've tried everything. I'll pay anything." "Money doesn't fix crying babies," she replied, moving closer. Her gaze shifted to Lily, and something in her expression softened. "How long has she been like this?" 9 hours. Sometimes 12. "When did she last eat?" "She won't eat. She refuses every bottle. Every formula." "Not formula," she interrupted gently. "Breast milk." Harrison's jaw tightened. "Her mother is dead. Donor milk. Imported from Switzerland, Japan, Denmark. She rejects it all." She stepped closer, and Harrison caught her scent, coconut oil and something spiced, completely foreign to his sterile world. She reached out, and before he could stop her, she placed her hand on Lily's back. The crying didn't stop immediately, but it changed, lessened in intensity, shifted to a different pitch. "She's not sick," the woman said quietly, her hand moving in slow, firm circles. "She's starving for connection. The formula isn't what she needs. She needs a heartbeat, warmth, a human anchor. I hold her constantly. Do you?" Her eyes met his challenging. "Or do you carry her while your mind is calculating profit margins and stock prices?" Babies feel that distance. They feel everything. Harrison's mouth opened, then closed. No one spoke to him this way. No one dared. Before he could respond, she made a decision. She turned to the other women, speaking rapidly in patois. Then she looked back at Harrison. "You come with me. Leave your phone at the door." "I'm not. You have your phone in your right pocket. Business calls, emails, the thing tethering you to the world that's killing your daughter. Leave it or leave entirely." Harrison stared at her for a long, dangerous moment. Then, incredibly, he placed his iPhone on the entrance table. "Follow me," she said. "Welcome back, my beautiful family. Buckle up because this story is about to flip your world upside down. If you're ready for shock, obsession, and a love story that'll have your jaw on the floor, you're exactly where you need to be. Drop that like, share with your girls, and subscribe because trust me, you need to see what happens next. And yes, tell me where you're watching from." The private room was small, just a rocking chair, a changing table, and soft lighting. She closed the door behind them and gestured to the chair. "Sit." Harrison sat, still holding the crying Lily. "I'm going to do something that will seem inappropriate," she said, her voice steady and professional. "But it's the only thing that will work. I'm going to feed her directly. Do you consent?" Harrison's brain short-circuited. I have a 7-month-old son," she said simply. "He's sleeping in the next room. I'm still nursing. Your daughter needs what only a nursing mother can provide. Not just milk, but the act of being held skin to skin by someone whose body is designed to comfort infants. I don't even know your name." "Kendra," she said. "Kendra Thompson. And you're Harrison Whitmore, though I'm sure you didn't expect me to know that." His eyes narrowed. "You know who I am. Everyone knows who you are. The tech billionaire who destroyed his competitors, fired half his workforce during the pandemic, and bought a $150 million yacht while people were losing their homes." Her voice was matter-of-fact, not judgmental. "Now, do you consent or not? Because your daughter is suffering." Harrison looked down at Lily's red, scrunched face, at her tiny fists trembling with effort, and felt something crack in his chest. "Yes." Kendra took the baby with confident, gentle hands, settled into the rocking chair, and with practiced ease adjusted her clothing. Within seconds, Lily was latched and feeding, her cries stopping so abruptly it felt like a miracle. The silence was devastating. Harrison stared, unable to look away. His daughter, his screaming, inconsolable daughter, was completely peaceful, making small, satisfied sounds as she fed. Kendra hummed something low and melodic, a song that sounded like ocean waves in sunshine, and rocked gently. "How?" Harrison's voice came out broken. "How did you do that?" "I didn't do anything extraordinary," Kendra said softly, her eyes on Lily. "I just gave her what she was asking for. Babies don't have complex needs, Mr. Whitmore. They just need to feel safe." Harrison lowered himself to the floor, his expensive suit forgotten, and watched his daughter's face transform from anguish to contentment. For the first time in months, he felt the crushing weight on his chest ease slightly. "I don't know how to do this," he admitted, the words escaping before he could stop them. "I know how to build companies. I know how to destroy competition. I don't know how to be this." Kendra looked at him, and her eyes held no judgment, only understanding. Being a father isn't about what you know. It's about who you're willing to become. Something shifted in the room. Harrison felt it, a dangerous, intoxicating pull toward this woman who'd done the impossible with simple competence and compassion. "I need you," he said. Her eyes widened slightly. "Excuse me. To help her. To teach me. Name your price." "Mr. Whitmore. Anything. A house, money, citizenship if you need it, protection, whatever you want." "I'm not for sale," Kendra interrupted, her voice firm but not harsh. "And neither is my care." "Then what do you want?" She was quiet for a long moment, looking down at the baby, who was now drifting to sleep, completely satisfied. When she spoke, her voice was careful. "I want my son to grow up safe. I want to finish my nursing degree. I want to stop running from ICE because my student visa expired and I can't afford the legal fees to fix it." She met his eyes. "I want what you can't actually buy, a future." Harrison's mind, that calculating machine that had built an empire, immediately began mapping solutions. "I can give you all of that. Legally. Permanently. But I need you to help me with her. I need you to," he paused, hating how desperate he sounded. "Live in my home. Nurse my daughter. Teach me how to be what she needs. You're asking me to move into the home of a man I just met, become dependent on someone who could destroy my life with one phone call, all to care for a baby whose father might discard me the moment she's stable?" "I'm asking you to save my daughter's life," Harrison said quietly. "Because without you, I don't know if she'll survive my incompetence." The raw honesty in his voice seemed to catch her off guard. She studied his face, this cold, dangerous man now stripped to his most vulnerable core. "1 month," she finally said. "Trial period. You provide legal documentation for my immigration case. You ensure my son's safety. You pay for my degree. And I help stabilize Lily. After 1 month, we reassess. Those are my terms." "Done," Harrison said immediately. "I'm not finished. You don't touch me. You don't order me around like your employees. You don't treat me like property. I'm a professional, not a possession. Understood. And my son comes with me. Non-negotiable. Of course. Kendra looked down at the sleeping baby in her arms, then back at the billionaire sitting on the floor of a women's shelter, and wondered what she'd just agreed to. Neither of them knew that this decision would change everything. Their lives, their hearts, and expose a secret that would destroy them both. But they would learn. Starting tomorrow. Kendra stood in the marble foyer of Harrison's penthouse, her 7-month-old son Jamal strapped to her chest in a worn cloth carrier, and felt the weight of her decision settle like concrete in her stomach. The space was obscene. 20-foot ceilings. Modern art that probably costs more than entire schools. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. Everything was white, gray, and glass, cold, sterile, and designed to intimidate. Jamal made a small, uncomfortable sound. "Me no, baby," Kendra whispered in patois, kissing his forehead. "This place has no soul. But we go survive it." Harrison appeared from a hallway, Lily finally sleeping in his arms. He'd changed into simple black clothes, but even in casual ones, he radiated cold precision. His ice-blue eyes found Kendra immediately, and something flickered in their depths, relief maybe, or something more complicated. "Your rooms are in the East Wing," he said. "Private entrance, full kitchen, security system you control. You'll have complete autonomy. Where's Lily's nursery?" "West Wing. Opposite side of the penthouse." Kendra frowned. "That's too far. If she wakes distressed, I need to reach her quickly. Move her nursery adjacent to my rooms." Harrison's jaw tightened, the look of a man used to being countermanded. "The West Wing nursery has been outfitted with. I don't care what it has. Babies don't need expensive equipment. They need proximity to their caregiver. Move it, or this arrangement ends now." For 5 long seconds, they stared at each other, a battle of wills between empire and maternal instinct. Harrison broke first. "It'll be moved by tonight." "Good." Kendra adjusted Jamal's carrier. "Now show me the kitchen. I need to prepare proper food, not whatever processed nonsense you've been surviving on." Something almost like a smile ghosted across Harrison's face. "You're very bossy for someone who arrived 10 minutes ago. You're very accustomed to fear-based compliance for someone who needs help," Kendra countered. "I don't fear you, Mr. Whitmore. That's why this will work." The almost smile vanished, replaced by something intense and unreadable. "You should fear me. Why? Will you hurt your daughter's only source of comfort? Will you destroy the one person keeping her alive?" Kendra stepped closer, close enough to smell his expensive cologne mixed with baby formula and exhaustion. "You're not used to needing people. But you need me. That makes me untouchable." Harrison's eyes darkened with something that wasn't anger. Something far more dangerous. "Don't mistake necessity for safety, Kendra. Don't mistake my compassion for weakness, Harrison." They stood inches apart, Lily sleeping between them like a small breathing bridge, until Jamal made another fussy sound that broke the tension. "Kitchen," Kendra said firmly. "Now." This time, Harrison led the way. For days later, Harrison sat at the head of the obsidian conference table in his company's war room, surrounded by 12 board members who controlled billions in investments. These people had backed him through every ruthless decision. But today, they smelled weakness. "You missed the Tokyo expansion meeting," his CFO, Patricia, said, her voice deceptively casual. "A meeting that cost us $47 million in lost contracts because our CEO was indisposed." "Family emergency," Harrison replied, his tone flat and dangerous. "Family." One of the investors, Graham, laughed, a sharp, ugly sound. "The great Harrison Whitmore, brought low by a baby. How poetic." "Watch your tone," Victoria warned from her position by the door. "Or what?" Another investor, Diane, leaned forward. "We all know the truth. You're distracted. Weakened. That child is a liability you can't afford." Harrison's hand, resting on the table, curled into a fist. "My daughter is none of your concern. She is when your situation makes you unreliable." Patricia slid a folder across the table. The competitors are circling. TechCore is launching a hostile takeover bid. Your late wife's family is filing for custody, claiming you're an unfit father. They want the child, and through her, controlling interest in your company. Harrison opened the folder. Legal documents, photographs, and intelligence reports showing his enemies consolidating. Catherine's family thinks they can take Lily and use her to claim legitimacy over my company, Harrison said slowly. They're wrong. Are they? Graham challenged. Because from where we sit, you're barely holding it together. You've hired some foreign woman to play nursemaid. Careful, Harrison interrupted, his voice dropping to a lethal whisper. Very careful how you finish that sentence. Graham's eyes glittered with malice. We did background on her. Kendra Thompson, Jamaican national. Student visa expired 2 years ago. Living illegally with her bastard son. No family, no connections, no protection. He smiled. Very vulnerable. The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. Harrison stood slowly, and every person at the table tensed. If anyone touches her or her son, I will personally destroy you. Financially. Legally. Completely. Am I perfectly clear? So it's true, Patricia said quietly. You've developed feelings for this woman. I've developed an appreciation for competence, Harrison corrected coldly. Something increasingly rare in this room. Then prove it, Diane challenged. The custody hearing is in 3 days. Catherine's family has political connections, expensive lawyers, and a sympathetic narrative. Tragic mother dies, ruthless billionaire father neglects infant. They'll take Lily, and with her your company, unless... She paused meaningfully. Unless you eliminate the problem. The room went silent. Meaning? Harrison asked, his voice deadly calm. Send the child away. Boarding school in Switzerland. Claim you're prioritizing her education and safety. Remove the leverage entirely. Harrison looked at each board member in turn, memorizing faces, cataloging betrayals. Gentlemen, ladies, I appreciate your concern, but I'll handle the custody hearing my way. Meeting adjourned. As they filed out, Victoria approached. Sir, they're right about one thing. Catherine's family has built a strong case. Without solid evidence of Lily's stability. Get me the best family lawyer in New York, Harrison interrupted. And increase security on Kendra and her son. Triple shifts. I want eyes on them constantly. You think the board will move against her? I think desperate people do desperate things. His eyes hardened. And I think I need to have a conversation with Kendra about what she's walked into. That night, Kendra was in the relocated nursery, rocking Lily after her evening feeding, when Harrison entered. It was past midnight. He looked exhausted, the careful mask he wore beginning to crack. She's gaining weight, Kendra said softly, not looking up. 3 pounds in 4 days. The pediatrician was shocked. Because of you. Because of consistent nutrition and emotional security. She finally met his eyes. What happened today? How did you? You're moving differently. Heavier. Like you're carrying something toxic. Kendra gently placed the sleeping Lily in her crib, then turned to face Harrison fully. What happened? Harrison was silent for a long moment, studying this woman who read him so easily. There's a custody hearing. My late wife's family wants Lily. They'll use her as leverage against my company. Will they win? Not if I can prove she's thriving. That she's in a stable, healthy environment. Kendra crossed her arms. You want me to testify? Yes. As what? Your employee. Your son's wet nurse. What exactly do I tell the court about why I'm here? The truth. That you're providing essential care that's saving her life. And when they investigate me, when they discover I'm undocumented, when your enemies use me to prove you're so desperate you hired someone with no legal standing. Kendra's voice remained calm, but her eyes flashed. I'm not a liability you can hide, Harrison. I'm a weapon they'll use against you. Then we fix your legal status. Immediately. It's not that simple. It is if you marry me. The words hung in the air like a detonation. Kendra stared at him. Excuse me? Harrison stepped closer, his expression intense. Marriage grants immediate legal residency. It provides legitimacy to your presence in Lily's life. It makes you untouchable in court. It solves everything. It solves your problems, Kendra corrected, her voice rising slightly. It turns me into property, a legal shield. No, it turns you into family. Protected, permanent. I am not marrying a billionaire for paperwork. Then marry me because my daughter will die without you. Harrison's control finally shattered, his voice raw. Because in 4 days, you've done what an army of specialists couldn't. Because when I watch you with her, I see something I thought I'd killed in myself. Hope. Because I am terrified that if they take her, I'll lose the only good thing I've ever created. Kendra's breath caught. She'd expected cold calculation. Not this. Not vulnerability, so naked it hurt to witness. You don't love me, she said quietly. No, Harrison agreed. But I respect you. I trust you. And in my world, that's rarer than love. What about what I want? What about Jamal's father? You're here because you're running from something. No family, no support system, living in a shelter. I'm offering you a way to stop running. His eyes held hers. And Jamal's father, if he cared, he'd be here. The painful truth of that statement landed like a physical blow. Kendra turned away, looking at the sleeping Lily. This is insane. Yes, I don't even like you. I don't like most people. You're a corporate tyrant who destroys people for profit. I'm aware. She laughed, a short, desperate sound. If I say yes, it's a real marriage. Legal, binding. Not some business arrangement where you keep mistresses and I stay in my corner. You want me to protect your daughter, and then you respect me as an equal partner. Done. And Jamal is legally adopted as your son. Same rights, same inheritance, same protection as Lily. Harrison didn't even hesitate. Done. Kendra turned back to face him, her dark eyes searching his for any sign of deception. Why do I feel like I'm making a deal with the devil? Because you probably are, Harrison said. But I'm a devil who keeps his promises. She extended her hand. 3 months trial marriage. If it doesn't work, we divorce, and you maintain my legal status and Jamal's adoption regardless. He took her hand, his grip warm and firm. 3 months. Neither of them knew they wouldn't make it 3 weeks before the truth exploded. The custody hearing, 6 days later. The courtroom was packed with lawyers, social workers, and barely concealed vultures from both sides. Catherine's family, old money, Connecticut elite, sat on one side, their grief performative and perfectly staged. Harrison sat on the other, Kendra beside him, both dressed immaculately. She wore a tailored navy suit that Harrison had commissioned, professional but powerful. Her locks were styled in an elegant updo, and she radiated calm competence. Catherine's family lawyer attacked immediately. Mr. Whitmore, you expect this court to believe that your daughter, a child who lost her mother at birth, is thriving in the care of an unmarried tech mogul and his foreign employee? She's my wife, Harrison said calmly. We married 5 days ago. And yes, our daughter is thriving. The courtroom erupted in whispers. The lawyer's expression soured. A convenient marriage. Suspiciously timed. Love is rarely convenient, Kendra interjected, her Jamaican accent clear and strong. But commitment is deliberate. I married Harrison Whitmore because I love his daughter, and because I saw a man willing to change his entire world to be the father Lily deserves. You're a Jamaican immigrant with an expired visa. I'm a registered nurse with specialized training in infant care, currently enrolled in Columbia University's Advanced Pediatric Program, Kendra corrected. My immigration status is resolved through my marriage, and I have saved Lily's life through consistent evidence-based care that your client's wealth couldn't provide. She stood, and the entire courtroom seemed to lean forward. Lily was failing to thrive. She'd been through 7 nannies, multiple formula changes, and was severely dehydrated and malnourished. Within 48 hours of my care, she began gaining weight. Within a week, she was developmentally on track. She pulled out a folder. I have pediatric records, weight charts, and developmental assessments showing dramatic improvement. She turned to face Catherine's parents directly. You want her? Ask them how many hours they've spent with her since her birth. Ask them if they know she's allergic to synthetic fabrics. Ask them why they waited for months to suddenly care. The lawyer stammered, trying to regain control. This is highly irregular. What's irregular, Harrison said, standing beside his wife, is a family using a child as a tool to access my company's assets. Your clients don't want my daughter. They want a controlling interest in my technology patents. I'm offering Lily stability, love, and 2 parents committed to her well-being. They're offering nannies and boarding schools. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, raised her hand for silence. I'll review the medical records and make my determination. Court adjourned until tomorrow morning. Kendra was giving Lily her late feeding when every light in the penthouse went out. Complete, absolute darkness. Her nursing training kicked in immediately. She grabbed Lily, still latched, and moved away from the windows. In the adjacent room, Jamal began to cry. Harrison, Kendra called out, keeping her voice steady. Footsteps. Too many. Too fast. The emergency lights flickered on, bathing everything in red. 3 men in tactical gear burst through the nursery door, but they weren't external enemies. They wore Harrison's own security badges. Graham sends his regards, one said, raising his weapon toward Kendra. She didn't hesitate. She shielded Lily with her body, spun toward Jamal's room, and slammed the door shut behind her, activating the magnetic lock she'd had installed without telling Harrison. Gunfire erupted. Bullets slammed into the reinforced door, but didn't penetrate. Kendra grabbed Jamal from his crib, pressed both babies against her chest, and dropped to the floor in the corner where the walls were thickest. Her heart hammered, but her hands stayed steady. Mama got you, she whispered in patois to both infants. Nothing ago hurt Anu. Outside, she heard more gunfire, different weapons. Harrison's voice, cold and lethal, barking orders. Victoria's voice joining his. The siege lasted 8 minutes. It felt like 8 hours. When the door finally opened, it was Harrison, his suit jacket torn, eyes wild until they found her. He crossed the room in 3 strides, dropped to his knees, and pulled all 3 of them into his arms with desperate force. Are you hurt? His hands frantically checked Kendra, then both babies. Did they touch you? We're fine. The door held. Kendra's voice shook slightly. Your own security? Board members tried to stage a coup. Thought killing you would force me to choose between revenge and my company. His hands cupped her face, forcing her to meet his eyes. I chose you. I chose this. I'm burning it all down. Harrison. I love you, he said, the words raw and unpracticed. I don't know when it happened. Maybe when you first held my daughter and stopped her crying. Maybe when you demanded I move her nursery. Maybe when you stood in that courtroom and defended us. But I love you, and I will destroy anyone who threatens you. Kendra's eyes filled with tears. You're insane. Yes. This life is impossible. Yes. I should take my son and run. But you won't. His thumb brushed away her tears. Because you love me too. And God help her, she did. She kissed him, fierce and desperate and real, while both babies made small, oblivious sounds between them. When they broke apart, Kendra pressed her forehead to his. If we do this, if I stay, things change. No more corporate warfare. No more destroying people for profit. We build something new together. What are you suggesting? Legitimize it. Transform your company. Use your technology to solve real problems, climate, poverty, and healthcare. Use your power to lift people up instead of crushing them. Her eyes held his. Be the man Lily and Jamal need. Be the man I know you can become. Harrison was silent for a long moment. Everything she was asking meant dismantling his empire, betraying his principles, and becoming vulnerable. He looked at his daughter, sleeping peacefully against Kendra's chest. At her son, his son now, watching him with wide, trusting eyes. At this woman who'd walked into his fortress and conquered it without firing a shot. Okay, he said. We'll build something new. 3 days later, the judge had ruled in their favor. Lily was staying with Harrison and Kendra. Catherine's family had been exposed for their financial motivations and had slunk away in disgrace. Harrison was in his home office, reviewing plans to restructure his company, when Victoria knocked on the door. "Sir, you need to see this." Her face was ashen. She handed him a file. Financial records, immigration documents, and photographs. Harrison's world tilted. "What am I looking at? Kendra Thompson isn't who she says she is." Harrison's hands tightened on the folder. "Explain." "Her real name is Dr. Kendra Morgan. She's not a nursing student. She's a board-certified pediatric surgeon who graduated top of her class from Johns Hopkins. She was working at Kingston General Hospital in Jamaica when she witnessed a pharmaceutical company conducting illegal drug trials on children in the pediatric ward." Harrison's blood ran cold. "She tried to expose them through official channels," Victoria continued. "They threatened her. Then they threatened her son. She fled to the U.S., but the company has connections. They've been hunting her. The expired visa, the shelter, the whole thing was her hiding in plain sight." "Why didn't she tell me?" "Because the pharmaceutical company is doing the illegal trials." Victoria paused. "One of their biggest investors is Graham, your board member, the one who just tried to have her killed." Harrison's mind raced. He wasn't trying to stage a coup. He was trying to eliminate a witness. "And she saved your daughter's life while putting herself in danger every single day she stayed here." Victoria's voice was tight. "Sir, there's more. They wanted access to your AI algorithms to accelerate drug trials. Except their trials aren't exactly ethical." Victoria pulled out another document. "Kendra has evidence. Medical records, witness testimonies, and financial trails. Everything needed to bring them down. She's been carrying it this entire time." Harrison stood abruptly. "Where is she?" "Nursery. With the babies." He found Kendra rocking both infants, humming softly. She looked up when he entered, and the moment she saw his face, she knew. "You found out," she said quietly. "Dr. Morgan." Harrison closed the door behind him. "When were you going to tell me?" Kendra's eyes filled with tears, but her voice remained steady. "I wasn't. The less you knew, the safer you and Lily would be." "Safer?" "Kendra, Graham tried to kill you because of what you know." "I know. You think I don't know?" She stood carefully, placing both sleeping babies in their cribs. "You think I haven't been terrified every single day? But what was I supposed to do? Walk into a billionaire's home and say, 'Hi, I'm on the run from a massive pharmaceutical company that's conducting illegal experiments on children. And oh, by the way, can you help me take down a multi-billion-dollar corporation while also caring for your baby?' Yes." Harrison's voice rose, then dropped when the baby stirred. "Yes," he repeated more quietly. "That's exactly what you should have done." "Why?" "So you could calculate whether I was worth the risk? So you could make a business decision about whether my life was valuable enough to protect." Kendra's voice cracked. "I've spent 2 years running, Harrison. 2 years watching over my shoulder, sleeping in shelters, working under the table, terrified they'd find me and take Jamal away. I couldn't trust anyone. You can trust me. Can I?" She stepped closer, her eyes blazing. "You made billions destroying competitors. You fired thousands of people without blinking. You told me yourself, you don't do things unless there's something in it for you. What's in it for you to go up against a pharmaceutical giant? What's in it for you to risk everything you've built?" Harrison moved so fast she didn't see it coming. He cupped her face in both hands, his ice-blue eyes burning with intensity. You're what's in it for me. And Lily. And Jamal. And the future we're building." His voice was raw. "I love you, Kendra. Not the nursing student. Not the woman I hired. You. The brilliant surgeon who risked everything to protect children. The woman who walked into my life and changed everything." "Harrison, we're taking them down," he said firmly. "All of them. Pharmatech, Graham, everyone involved. But we're doing it together. No more secrets. No more running. You have the evidence, and I have the resources. We finish this." Kendra searched his eyes, looking for doubt, for calculation, for any sign this was another business transaction. All she found was determination and something that looked terrifyingly like love. "It could destroy you," she whispered. "They have connections everywhere. Politicians, judges, and other corporations. They'll come after your company, your reputation, everything. Let them try." A cold smile crossed Harrison's face, the one that had made him legendary in boardrooms. They've never gone up against someone who has nothing left to lose and everything to fight for. 2 weeks later, Harrison's penthouse had been transformed into an operations center. Lawyers, forensic accountants, investigative journalists, and tech specialists filled every room. Victoria coordinated logistics. Kendra provided medical testimony and evidence. Harrison orchestrated the entire operation with the same ruthless precision he'd once used to destroy competitors. But this time, he was destroying people who deserved it. "We have 12 documented cases of unauthorized drug trials on children in Kingston," one of the lawyers reported. "Kendra's records match hospital admissions and pharmaceutical shipment logs. It's airtight. The financial trail leads directly to 3 board members at Pharmatech," the forensic accountant added. "They've been siphoning funds through offshore accounts to pay off hospital administrators." "And Graham?" Harrison asked coldly. "He's been receiving kickbacks for 5 years, Victoria said. "I've traced $8.3 million in payments disguised as consulting fees. He also tried to suppress 2 previous whistleblowers. One disappeared. One died in a car accident." The room went silent. Kendra looked up from the medical files she'd been reviewing. "That's why I ran. I wasn't going to be whistleblower number 3. Harrison's hand found hers under the table, squeezing gently. "You're not running anymore. The press embargo lifts tomorrow," one of the journalists said. "We're running the story simultaneously in the Times, the Journal, and the Guardian. By noon tomorrow, Pharmatech's stock will be in freefall." "And the criminal charges?" Harrison asked. "Federal prosecutors are ready. They're waiting for the story to break, so the company can't bury it." The lawyer smiled grimly. "Graham and the Pharmatech executives will be arrested within hours." "Good." Harrison stood. "Everyone knows their roles. We execute tomorrow at 9 a.m. No mistakes." As the team dispersed, Kendra stayed behind. "Harrison, there's something else." He turned to her. "What is it?" "Catherine." Kendra pulled out a file she'd been hiding. "Your late wife. I've been going through her medical records, the ones from her pregnancy and death." Harrison's expression shuddered. "Kendra, we don't need to. She didn't die from a natural aneurysm." Kendra's voice was gentle but firm. "The hospital records show she was given an experimental blood pressure medication during her 3rd trimester. A medication that wasn't FDA approved. A medication that Pharmatech was testing." The world stopped. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying Catherine was one of their test subjects. They recruited pregnant women through high-end OB/GYN practices, offering cutting-edge prenatal care. The medication was supposed to prevent preeclampsia." Kendra's eyes filled with tears. "It caused brain hemorrhages in 7% of patients. Catherine was one of them." Harrison sank into a chair, his face ashen. "They killed her." "They killed her," Kendra confirmed softly. "And they covered it up. The death certificate says natural causes. But the medication logs tell a different story." For a long moment, Harrison said nothing. Then his eyes, those cold, calculating eyes, turned to ice. "Add it to the charges," he said, his voice deadly calm. "Murder, medical malpractice, criminal negligence. I want them destroyed so completely that their grandchildren will be paying for their crimes." Kendra moved to him, wrapping her arms around his shoulders. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you have to learn this now." "Don't be." Harrison pulled her into his lap, burying his face in her neck. "Catherine and I didn't have love. But she deserved to live. She deserved to watch Lily grow up. And those bastards took that from her. From Lily. We're going to make them pay," Kendra whispered. "For Catherine. For all the children. For everyone they've hurt. Together. Together." The next day at 9 a.m., the news broke like a bomb. Pharmatech Industries exposed. Illegal drug trials on children. Billionaire tech CEO Harrison Whitmore blows whistle on pharmaceutical giant. Jamaican doctor's testimony reveals years of medical crimes. By 10 a.m., Pharmateca's stock had dropped 73%. By 11 a.m., federal agents were raiding their headquarters. By noon, Graham and 4 other executives were in handcuffs. Harrison and Kendra watched the news coverage from their living room, both babies playing on a blanket between them. "It's over," Kendra breathed. "It's actually over." "Not quite." Harrison turned to her. "There's one more thing I need to do." He pulled out a small velvet box. Kendra's breath caught. "Harrison, I know we're already married," he said, opening the box to reveal a stunning emerald ring surrounded by diamonds. "I know it started as a business arrangement, but I'm asking you now for real, with no contracts or deals or strategies." He took her hand. "Kendra Morgan, will you marry me again? Will you let me spend the rest of my life loving you, protecting you, and building a world where our children never have to run?" Tears streamed down Kendra's face. "You're really going to make me cry in front of the babies? Is that a yes?" "Yes, you impossible man. Yes." He slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her, soft and sweet and full of promise. Lily made a happy gurgling sound. Jamal clapped his chubby hands together. "I think they approve," Kendra laughed through her tears. 2 years later, the Manhattan Community Health Center was nothing like Harrison's old corporate headquarters. It was warm, bright, filled with children's laughter and the smell of Kendra's cooking from the staff kitchen. The Whitmore Foundation, specializing in pediatric care, immigrant support, and ethical pharmaceutical development, operated from the ground floor. Harrison's restructured tech company, now focused on medical AI and affordable healthcare solutions, occupied the second. Family housing for medical refugees occupied the third. Harrison stood in his office, smaller, simpler, but somehow fuller, watching through the window as Kendra conducted a prenatal class for immigrant mothers. She was visibly pregnant with their third child, glowing with confidence and joy. Lily, now 2.5, played with Jamal in the corner, both speaking a fluid mix of English and patois. "Daddy," Lily called out. Jamal built a tower. Harrison smiled, something he did constantly now, shocking everyone who'd known him before. "That's amazing, sweetheart." Victoria appeared in the doorway. "Sir, sorry, boss. The funding came through for the Kingston Pediatric Wing. Dr. Morgan's old hospital is getting a complete renovation." "Excellent." "And Pharmatech, officially dissolved. Their assets are being liquidated to pay restitution to victims. Graham got 25 years. The CEO got life." "Good." Harrison felt no satisfaction in their destruction, only relief that they couldn't hurt anyone else. Kendra appeared, Lily on her hip. "Your daughter wants to show you something important." Lily held up a crayon drawing. 3 stick figures, one tall, one with a round belly, one tiny, holding hands under a yellow sun and a Jamaican flag. "My family," Lily announced proudly in her mixed accent. "Mama, Daddy, Jamal, and baby." Harrison took the drawing with reverent care, then pulled his wife and daughter into his arms. "Yes," he said quietly. "Our family." Kendra kissed his cheek. Who would have thought? The ruthless Harrison Whitmore, brought to his knees by a crying baby. "And by the woman who knew how to quiet her," Harrison added, his hand resting on her pregnant belly. "You didn't just save my daughter. You saved me." "We saved each other," Kendra corrected. "That's what family does." Through the window, Manhattan glittered. No longer a concrete jungle of corporate warfare, but a home full of possibility and second chances. The empire of greed had fallen. The empire of love had risen in its place. And it all began with one woman's courage to hold a crying baby and one man's courage to accept help from the person he needed most. Thanks for watching. Did this story have you screaming? Did that twist about Catherine, that pharmaceutical conspiracy, that love have you in your feelings? Drop a comment with your favorite moment. Is Harrison going from ice cold to completely melted? Kendra being a secret doctor? That proposal? If you love this intense, emotional, twist-filled romance, smash that like button. Share with everyone who loves powerful stories about second chances and dangerous love. And subscribe because I've got more addictive stories coming your way. What do you want next? More plot twists? More steamy moments? More powerful women changing ruthless men? Let me know in the comments.